You pay $30 for a hardcover novel. The author gets maybe two. And here's the trick: that $30 price tag isn't greed, it's math, brutal, granular math. To understand where your money actually goes, we need to follow the cash from the moment a manuscript lands on an editor's desk to the moment it sits on a shelf in front of you. Because the path is longer than you think and the cuts are smaller than you'd expect. First question: what does the publisher actually pay for before a single book is printed? They're not just buying paper and ink. They're paying editors, cover designers, proofreaders, and a marketing team. A typical trade publisher invests between $15,000 and $25,000 to bring one book to market before they sell a single copy. Then there's the author's cut. Most authors don't get a flat fee, they get royalties. On a $30 hardcover, the author typically earns between 10 and 15%. That's $3 to $4.50 per book sold. But here's the catch: publishers keep that money until they've recouped their upfront investment, which can take months or years. So the author's slice is locked in. What about printing and materials? Paper, binding, ink, and the physical plant that runs the printing press? That's roughly $3 to $5 per book. Sounds reasonable until you realize the publisher has to print thousands of copies upfront, gambling that they'll all sell. Overprint by 2,000 copies, and suddenly that cost multiplies fast. Distribution is where the system gets weird. The publisher doesn't hand your book directly to the bookstore. They sell to a distributor who sells to a wholesaler who sells to the retailer. At each step, someone takes a cut. The bookstore typically gets a 40% discount off the cover price. That's $12 on a $30 book. The wholesaler takes their margin too. Now here's the trick within the trick. The publisher gets that $12 wholesale price, but they don't pocket it. From that $12, they've already allocated for returns. Bookstores don't buy books outright, they return unsold copies. Industry returns can run between 20 and 40%. A publisher budgets for that loss right into the wholesale price. So the publisher's real revenue per book is lower than it looks. From that $12 wholesale price, they subtract production costs, distribution costs, and the author's royalty. They also have to cover overhead, office rent, salaries for acquisition staff, legal fees, and the fact that most published books don't earn back their investment. The math shows why independent publishers and self-published authors operate differently. They eliminate the wholesaler and distributor, keeping more per book, but they also handle their own marketing, distribution, and risk. They're betting on themselves. Traditional publishers bet on portfolios, spreading the risk of failures across dozens of titles. Paperbacks cost less because they skip the hardcover production run, reducing upfront investment. Ebooks cost less because there's no printing or physical distribution, but they still require editing, cover design, and marketing. The format changes the cost structure, not the labor. One more layer: when you buy that book at a bookstore, the store itself needs to stay open. Rent, employees, utilities. They're also managing inventory risk. That 40% discount is their margin to survive. Online retailers can undercut that because they operate at scale and lower overhead, but even they face returns and logistics costs. So when you pay $30 for a hardcover, you're funding not just the author's words, you're funding the entire ecosystem that made those words findable, readable, and trustworthy. The editor who caught plot holes, the designer who made the cover compete for attention, the distributor who got it to your store, the bookstore staff who shelved it, the risk that it might not sell at all. That $30 price isn't arbitrary. It's the minimum price needed to sustain a system where unknown authors can still get published, edited, and distributed to millions of readers. Without it, that system collapses. And here's the final trick: most books don't justify that investment. Publishers accept that loss because occasionally one book does. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe to follow the money through the systems we think we understand but never do. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.